Wait a minute. So, this is your first book that you ever wrote, ever?
Yes.
Before this, you weren't into writing or doing anything like that?
I'm a journaler, so I always loved writing my thoughts, like writing poetry. I always liked writing, but never.
What up, world, and welcome back to the Hot Seat Podcast. I'm your host, Trees Trims, and today we got a special guest straight from Long Beach, California, an author and entrepreneur. This is Mercedes Miles, okay? AKA Eminem. How's that sound? Welcome to the Hot Seat Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for making the trip and thank you for being here. There's not often that I interview someone that I'm not very familiar with, but I have been reading the book, and that makes me feel a little bit more understanding of who you are, and I'm really excited to share this with everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate that.
So, again, this is Mercedes Miles in the Hot Seat Podcast, author and entrepreneur, author of the book Provision, and an entrepreneur by Pandemic Spirit,
Yes.
with the EmptyVessels soy candles, which I already burned one of mine, but she brought me a few more, so this is great. All right, so we're gonna get into the show right now, and if you ever watch the episode of our podcast, it always starts with a very interesting question, because some people don't know how to answer it, some people do, but it is, who are you?
My name is Mercedes Miles. I am an author, an entrepreneur. I'm a mother, a wife, and yeah, I'm new to authorship, so this is my first book, and I'm also new to the candle industry, so I'm a new entrepreneur.
Okay. Obviously, we're here to talk about this book. And before we talk about that, I want to know what exactly, when you started writing this book, did you want listeners to leave with? What was your motivation to say, hey, I want to write this book because I want people to know this, or what was it?
My motivation for the book was pretty much to just share my experiences to help someone else. Sometimes we go through things and we get stuck right there.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to be able to share, hey, I've gone through these things, but it was difficult, but just keep going because it gets better.
Right.
And not to let your identity be that thing that broke you.
Right. Wow. Okay. So when you titled the book Provision, and obviously, it has that statement on the front. Let me get my book out. And it says, God wants you to restore your vision. That alone should make a person that needs this book open it to me. But where I was kind of overwhelmed is, you have it broke down into these different titles, and there's a quote for every chapter, there's a one-word title, and then you have the story that you share, and then there's time to reflect, and then you even give us a time to write down things as well. So what made you think of making a book? Most people write a book and then they just writing and it's just filling up the pages. What made you want to make this a book that more or less created some type of engagement?
I wanted it to feel, because it is it's some heavy stuff in there, so I wanted to make it feel like we were having a conversation. I'm sharing my story,
Mm-hmm.
but then I want you to reflect on your own story, and then each chapter also has a prayer and then a journal entry. So
the prayer too. Excuse me, sorry about that. Yeah, I love that part too.
I want people to walk away feeling like reflecting on their own life. Like
Right.
I want to feel like we're having a whole conversation
Right.
by
Right.
each chapter. So that was important for me.
Now, one thing I want to commend you on this book, because I think I'm on deprivation right now. Like that's, I would consider 4 chapters in this book, right? So, it's so detailed that I feel like I know your big mom, you know what I'm saying? And I know that she got the plastic couches and, you know, how warm and welcoming, even the prayer that she taught you, like, that's a prayer that I use that's a prayer that I was taught by my grandmother. So, like, I really related a lot well, and you were very detailed with every person and their description and everything. So, like, I really commend you on that part of the book because it made it more interesting for me. Because I'm one of those people that is more visual. So if I could watch it instead of read it, I will. You know what I mean? So you made this book like really detailed in that aspect, and I really commend you. I'm telling you guys, people got to get this book. This is a great book. So, all right. Like you said, there's a lot of heavy stuff in the book. Now, I want to commend you first for being strong enough to share some of the stories and share your own personal life period with the entire world in hopes to, I guess, inspire or motivate or just make somebody, like you said, feel like that does not determine who I am. So, like, let's talk about it. Like, what gave you the courage to share these stories?
Really, it started off as a testimony that I gave in church, and I'm like, okay, I showed my testimony, and that's gonna be it.
Right.
I'm gonna be done.
And that's a big deal for people that don't know about black churches. We have a thing called testimony, and usually it has something to do with us going through whatever we went through, and then at the end, God does bring us through that, and we get to church and we get to tell that story in hopes to motivate other people. So that's what she means when she says testimony, and I like that because that's what this book definitely embodies right here for sure. That's tight.
Yeah. So I thought it was gonna be that. I'm gonna be done with it. I shared it in church, and I did what you told me to do. But there was a woman. There was a mother at the church that after I spoke, she grabs me and she said, there's things that you spoke about today that I'm in my old age and I'm still dealing with those things. Young people need to hear this so they can know that they'll be okay.
Wow.
And after she said that, it was just like a conviction, like, okay, I don't know. I never thought I would actually finish the book because I kept writing it and putting it down. But I felt called to do it, to where it's like, okay, I'm going to just do it. And hopefully, even if it just helps one person, the book will have served its purpose.
Wait a minute. So, this is your first book that you ever wrote, ever?
Yes.
Before this, you weren't into writing or doing anything like that?
I'm a journaler, so I always loved writing my thoughts, like writing poetry. I always liked writing, but never, like,
So it was exactly your testimony that you shared with someone else that basically showed you what your purpose was in a certain, I mean, not just your whole purpose in life, but this is purposeful. Mm-hmm. What you're doing, like you said, even if it touches one person. So that's great. This is your first book. So are you gonna do another one?
Hopefully I can do another one.
I feel you. When the support comes in, that means y'all got to go get the book, all right? Y'all want to know everybody else's stuff, you need to get on your own stuff, all right? Figure out what's going on with you and how you can overcome it. So, all right, like I said, let me go back to my notes real quick because I think it's Altered is the first, yep. Altered was the first one. And like I said, that really got into it. It was really, it started off in the way you were describing Long Beach and the day and your hair and the beads and everything. And I was like really locked into that story. And then it really kind of brought me down when I read the rest. And like, but at the end of it, it was still I wanted more. I needed to know what was next, what was going on next. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I like really felt like when you opened up that way, like it made me feel like I need to know what the rest of the story is for her. I need to know, was she good? Did everything work out? You know what I'm saying? Like that. And like to see you here, obviously it did, but like that right there was like, that was a pretty tough read at first, you know what I mean? And kind of like the Kendrick album right now. Kendrick album got me stressed out, I'm all over the place, but I can't get enough of it, you know what I mean? So I'll compare it to that. So then in the next one, you went into Resilience, which gave us a real descriptive, like a deep description of like your grandmother and how much you appreciate those times over there and how it was there. I felt like I could smell the food and see the plastic cow. I felt like I could really see that stuff, right? So let's talk a little bit about that and how much she was an inspiration in your life and you know, maybe motivating this book as well.
Absolutely. So it was important for me to start with Alter because that's the beginning, and let's get the heavy stuff out. Let's talk about it. But then the next chapter, Resilience, it wasn't so tough, but it was just, I could focus on all the bad things, or I can hold on to something that was good. And she was good. She was just like, everybody loved her in the neighborhood. That was Big Mama, and everybody loved her.
Right.
And she was kidnapped when she was a baby. She never knew her mother, but you would have never known that was part of her story because she didn't carry it to where I took that. Like, okay, we are not in control of everything that we go through. That's just life. Sometimes we're going to go through things and they're going to be terrible. But how do we move on for that?
Right.
How do we move forward?
Right.
What is our legacy going to be?
Right. Okay. So yeah, like, and so like I said, I was hooked on that, and then like it keeps going, and then we get into what is embedded. And hey, I said Resilience, and y'all better not say a damn thing about that. Resilience, I wrote it real quick, and I took my notes. I said Resilience, but yeah, it's Resilience. All right, I know how to read. Okay, so embedded, and then you go into talking about it's like you're opening up about not only it's like your family structure to me.
Yeah.
So now I'm understanding, like, not only do you have these brothers, but do you also have the sister, you know, and she comes and spends this time with you that you appreciate. And then it goes back into a darker space for me, but it's also an enlightening space for you where more or less you're understanding, like, oh, wait a minute, like this ain't right.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about Sinitra. You said she was so pretty and she had the curly hair and all this stuff. So talk about her a little bit, and you know, because I'm letting people know how this book is. You got this is how it go, y'all. You got to know what's going on. It's like a movie series, a TV series or something.
Sinitra is my big sister. She's my big sister, but that's my baby. Like, I love her so much. And she really just told me, like, you know, it's not okay, and it's not, you don't have to deal with this, and we don't have to deal with this.
Right.
And she was really the hero, because I don't know if it wouldn't have been for her, if I would, when would I have known?
Right.
How would I have known?
Right.
Because when something like that happens to you and that's your normal.
Yeah, that's all you know.
Yeah, because I was 5 years old, so
right.
That's what you know as normal, and then for her to say, hey, no, this is not okay, we're not accepting it.
Right.
To where she is my hero.
Right. I respected that, and I kind of figured like she was a big key. Even though I haven't been all the way through the book, I know that moment right there to me was like an awakening. Like, wait a minute, all right, there is something different. There's something wrong. Like, now you can address it, you know? So that was dope. And then I moved into, like I said, I'm in deprivation right now, right? And now you're kind of talking about your brother and some of the things that he deals with personally and how he deals with them and why. And then it goes into how we need to act, not out of pain, but out of purpose. And for me, that was big. I think it was on page like 42 or something like that, where you said something and I was like, oh, wait a minute, I was today years old when I knew that. You know what I mean? Like, because there is a big difference out of how you react to things and how you go about things depending on what you're dealing with. So, yeah, it's page 42, I think. Yeah. So, how old were you when you acknowledged, like, okay, this is my brother, this is how he is, this is what we've been through, this is how he deals with it, and this is, like, how did you decipher knowing that this is the situation and how most of the people are going to deal with it, as opposed to saying, hey, we can't react out of pain and we have to turn it into some type of purpose? Like, what struck you to know that?
Well, I think that just comes with age and wisdom. That's my younger brother, so just being able to know exactly what's going on and be able to see it, and to know his character and know who he is outside of all the pain. But deprivation is pretty much about being deprived for something, basic things. Like, we don't realize how basic things are, that we miss out on, like a father's love, a father telling you, like, this is how you be a man.
Right. Well, because that's what it kind of related to when you talked about the relationship and how he just kind of like became like a second coming of your father in certain areas, or how he dealt with being, you know, because you said one of the brothers didn't think your dad could do anything wrong, but the other one was more or less. Yeah,
my brothers are, like my older brother, we have different fathers, but
they're night and day?
They're night and day.
Yeah.
My younger brother, who we have the same father, he carries it. And when we carry stuff, it changes us. Because we're not meant to carry that much pain, that much hurt. It changes the way we look at ourselves. Like, just because we are holding the pain, we see ourselves as not enough.
Right.
Or not valuable. Or we don't even see ourselves. To where I was able to go through my healing that I needed to go through, but he's always carried it. So that was the difference. That's been the difference. But deprivation, I just want to encourage people to not carry it. And I know that he won't always carry it. He'll get out of it. But right now, he's carrying it. So,
do you think that is different for a man and a woman when it comes to how they deal with certain trauma or certain whatever it could be? Do you think there's a difference between men and women and how they handle it, or is it just person to person how they handle it?
I don't think it's a difference between the way that men and women handle things. I think we deal with things a little bit different. I think the difference is choosing to heal versus to say it wasn't that big of a deal and I'm not going to deal with it. Because we think we're not dealing with it when we push it back.
So what I'm saying, like, my question is, like, I think a lot of us for a long time has been taught that we have to just deal with it. Like, we just like, yo, it ain't that bad, everything is good, and you keep on doing that for a certain amount of time, and then eventually, you know, you snap, obviously.
Yeah.
But, so, that's why I was just thinking, like, okay, as a man, men and women deal with certain different things. So as him being a young man and you being a young woman, some of the struggles that you dealt with, he didn't.
Yeah.
But some of the things that you dealt with, he, you know, vice versa, what I'm saying. So.
And I think it's that thing where you got to be tough. You can't cry, you can't show those emotions, and sometimes with men, you guys, it's frowned upon for you to show those emotions or to even speak about those things because it comes off to some people
like
that make you weak or you being soft. But I think nobody is meant, like us as people, nobody is meant to carry anything. No, forever. Right. You gotta, even if you say it's not bothering you, if you're holding on to it, it's a trigger. It becomes a trigger.
You can always tell if it is bothering you because even like you said, like a lot of us deal with our pain by drinking, smoking, doing different drugs and different things that just suppress it. So like you said, so he doesn't even have to address how he's really feeling because he don't feel no type of way.
Yeah.
And that's not just him. That's a lot of us. You know what I mean? So I feel like down the line, what you really open up to me is like the reality is we haven't allowed a lot of men and even women to really black women and men to express how they truly feel about the things they've been through without feeling, like you said, soft or weak, or we don't ever want to be vulnerable anyway. So it's like hard, and that's why I commend you and think you're so strong for even making this book. But yeah, I think that's the problem. And if we could express ourselves and really say how we felt and really work through it, then maybe we wouldn't need the alcohol and the, you know, I'm smoking weed regardless. Off top, I'm always smoking weed.
It's the numb, but when you're using it to be numb.
Right.
Because you're never gonna not feel nothing forever. That temporary fix is gonna, you're not dealing with the issue. You're just.
It's a suppressant.
You're just suppressing it until it comes back again, and you're like, okay, I really don't want to deal with it. And then I think another thing with me is when I was younger, I went to counseling. Like, really? I was able to express those feelings.
Okay, yeah. You did mention that in the book too.
Where I think that makes a difference too, because it's nothing wrong with going to counseling or therapy or just talking to somebody, or even if it's not a therapist, maybe it's just talking to someone that's going to listen to you and you be able to express it out loud.
The best thing about the therapist is they're not going to go tell your business.
They're not going to go tell you, exactly. So don't go on.
So go to the therapist, all right?
Don't go on social media.
Don't go on social media telling us, oh, don't do that. Those are the most judgmental people ever.
Yeah, don't go there, but you know, get you a journal. Get you a journal.
Get you a journal. No, get this book because this is the journal. All right, I'm telling y'all, she got a spot for you to write stuff in here. That's you don't get a lot of books like that. All right, where's the Tupac? The Tupac quote.
Deprivation starts with the Tupac.
Yeah, that's my one. Okay, so now that so that's where I'm at. What can I expect? Tell me what's next. Maybe you need a reference so I can tell you what's the next chapter. Okay. Abruptly. And I told you I could read abruptly.
Abruptly.
So what should we expect in this part?
It's basically just about experiencing something that changes your life instantly and how you react from that. For abruptly is about me being pregnant with my son, being a teen mom.
Wow.
My life changed instantly. I wasn't prepared for it, and it didn't matter. And people, you know, being a teenage mom, people gonna say, I heard it all. Right. And I just had to.
Especially you look like you sound like you have a church background. So being in the church and stuff like that, that's another group of people that want to have something to say.
You hear from every
direction. Like, all right.
You hear from every strangers on the bus. I was catching a bus, stranger on the bus, but you know, I wouldn't recommend any teenager to get pregnant because it's not easy. I was a mother before I was an adult. Right. So it forced me to change abruptly. Either I was gonna grow up, or my child was gonna suffer. So that was what abruptly is about. It's just about something changing instantly, and what happens after that.
So right now, I want to send a big shout out to any mothers out there that had kids young that made the proper decisions to see that their youth had a fair chance. You know what I mean? Because that sounds like exactly what you did. And I know at being that young and at that maturity level, to be able to turn it on and say, it ain't about me no more, it's about the person that I brought into this world that didn't ask to be here. That right there is real commendable, man. So I can't wait to finish. I'm gonna finish deprivation. I'm gonna get to abruptly, man. So yeah, that's super big, man. I'm loving this book. I referenced a lot of stuff, so sorry. I got notes because I didn't want to forget nothing. All right. So as you said, this was your first book. Maybe somebody out there that's listening right now wants to write a book too, or has a story to share, or whatever the case may be. Let's talk about the journey of getting the book totally produced and made, and how did all of that work out? Because I don't know. I do know one other author, and it's actually because she's a black woman as well. So salute to the black ladies out there making books. You know what I'm saying? That's big love right there.
Yeah, so the hardest part about writing the book is writing the book, the manuscript. But once you finish your manuscript, I didn't know what to do. I'm like, I never wrote a book. It was very likely going to stay a manuscript.
Wow.
But a friend of mine wrote a children's book, and I reached out to him and asked him, like, what's the process? And he connected me with another person by the name of Tony Schaefer, and he's a consultant. He's written a book, and he's helped other authors get their books produced. So he took me through the process. Like after my manuscript was complete, he connected me with an editor. From that process, I got somebody to format my book. I wanted to do the cover. It was important for me to do the cover, so I did my cover on Canva. And then I got my copy written, and then I got my IBN number, and then after that, I was ready to upload. I uploaded to Amazon KDP.
So this book right now is available on Amazon.
It's available on Amazon.
Let's go. Y'all know Amazon. You order it right now, it'll be at your doorstep tomorrow at 9 a.m. Stop playing with Amazon. Get the book. There ain't no excuse. Yes. And how much is the book on there?
It's on Amazon, but it's also on my website, mercedesmiles.com.
Let's run that up first. I think we need to go to let's forget Amazon. Let's go there and get that book. Yes. I like that. Yeah, say it again so they know.
mercedesmiles.com.
We will drop the link.
The book is $20. So you can order on either platform.
This is the best $20 you can spend. I'm telling you, people. And I'm not, this is what y'all say, no cap. No cap. This is a good book. I'm already 4 chapters in. I would have paid $5 a chapter for that. That was 20, that would have been $20 right there. So I'm telling you, get this book, man. Get this book. Was there any particular challenges that you feel like you faced producing the book? Was there anything that you...
some of the challenge was just being so vulnerable and sharing some of the information and wondering how people were going to react, or, you know, what would people say if I shared this, if I was this vulnerable and I shared this, what would people think? But the purpose is much more about, is more to help people than whoever's going to think whatever. If you read the book, if you read the book, you're going to get, and finish it, you're going to get the takeaways, because it's something that from every chapter, you may not relate to every single chapter, but there's something in at least.
No, there's every chapter in this book so far that I've read, I've had something that I can relate to. You know, it's a very relatable book, and it goes back to how descriptive you are, where you're like painting this canvas where it's so visual that you can see these things. And when, you know, there are down times in the book, but there are a lot of moments where you know, it's painted and it's bright and it's happy and it's, you know what I mean? And you feel all of that. And then it gives you time to think back on your life, and I don't think a lot of people even do that. Think back to the time, like when you said that, I stopped reading it for a minute, like take back to the time where you went through something where you changed. I was like, I'm done with the book for a second, because now I'm finna get sad. But, you know, it makes it easier to share those things in that book at that moment after you shared so much of your life as well. So like this book is really cool. Like I really enjoyed what I've read so far. Like,
and it's important for us to heal. If we go through something and we're hurting, it's important for us to heal, because what we don't heal, it repeats itself. And it may not repeat in our life, but you're going to see it again. Yeah. To where you want to make sure that you get your healing, so you're not walking around being the lesser version of yourself. Because it's hard to fulfill your purpose and be your authentic self if you got all this baggage that you're carrying. Erykah Badu's song said it best.
She did. She said, you know what, bag lady, you gonna hurt your back. She said, you gonna hurt that back. You keep on carrying all them bags like that. You gotta let them go. I love that, man. Shout out to Erykah Badu too, man. She is the one. I love it. Okay, so what was the most rewarding part of launching this book? Was it when it was done and you saw it, or was it when you knew it was available to the people, or what was it?
The most rewarding part was it being done and having it in my hand and knowing that, you know, once you write a book, it's out there forever. Like, maybe somebody doesn't pick it up this year, but they can pick it up 10 years from now, and you know, it can change them. So, you know, that's gonna be part of my legacy. I wrote a book.
You just dropped the gem too. How many times have you read a book and it just came out? Most of the books you read have been out, right? So this right, I'm telling you, don't sleep on this book. But if you do, you can still pick it up later. It's still gonna do the same thing. It's still gonna do the same thing. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. All right. So one thing that I didn't know, and this is just a random fun fact, okay, because I met you for the first time. I had the book before I met you. I think I had the book before I met you, and we met at the OC Native Fair, and you were doing a pop-up there. Mm-hmm. Okay, that pop-up was all geared towards the book. And what I also didn't know was Empty Vessels. So let's talk a little bit about Empty Vessels, how you got into that, because you know what? If they don't want, they gotta get this book by now. If they don't want this book by now, I'm not gonna just keep on telling y'all everything that's in the book. That ain't right. I didn't pay for this. But look, I got the book before it released because I'm on the not for sale, resale list. But y'all gotta pay $20 and it's so worth it, man. So I ain't telling you no more about the book. We're gonna get into these candles. When was the last time you read a book and burned a candle that smelled this good? Let's get into the candles and how that started.
So the candle started off as a hobby. I started working from home and I was like buying candles all the time because I like to burn them while I work. It relaxes you, it sets the tone for your day. Mm-hmm. And my husband was like, you spending all this money on these candles, you need to learn how to make them. So he bought me my first candle set. And I started making candles. I was making candles for 2 years before I even, he like, it's a business, but I'm like, I'm just gonna make it.
Yeah, shout out to you, brother. You had the vision. You had it down. Like if you spending this much on candles, imagine how much you can make off some candles. You know what I mean? So that was a big shout out to you, man.
Yes, so. that was his vision. Like, okay, this is gonna be a business too. Where I was making candles for 2 years, you know, just making them, giving them away.
Right.
And I wanted to finish my book first. So I'm like, I'm gonna finish this book first, and then I'm gonna go into my candles. And that's what happened. They're soy candles. They smell. I have a scent for it. I have sweet scents. I have fresh scents. I have clean scents. I have musky scents. Whatever your flavor is, I have it. So I started. We've been doing pop-ups. So we've done 3 pop-ups so far, and just kind of word of mouth selling the candles. But my candle company is EmptyVessels Candles.
Right. We're gonna be providing those links as well.
Yes. And
okay. So what's a few of your top favorite fragrances that you love to burn that you created?
Favorite is the coconut mango and the Sunday brunch. They're both like sweeter smells, but they're like fun smells. So
Sunday brunch just sound good. Like what? I see a mimosa. I already got a mimosa with my game. Yeah, that's tight. Okay, that's amazing, man. So, as far as the candle line, like I know the book, like do you have a website or anything going on, or are you just doing the pop-ups right now and kind of building off of that? Because I know me, when I first started, I have a clothing line. I still don't have a website, and I've been pushing the clothing line for years. You know what I mean? But I do a lot of the pop-ups, and I do a lot more, you know, hand-to-hand stuff, because I like to kind of meet the people that are supporting the brand since it's so small, and kind of like grow it that way. So is that what you're kind of doing with the candles right now?
Yeah, right now I'm just doing pop-ups. I do have an Instagram at EmptyVessels. Okay. So right now I'm just doing pop-ups. I don't have a website yet because we're new to this business. I want to make sure what people like, what type of scents they like, making sure that when you get a website, you know, you got to be ready.
Yeah, you got to be ready because they're going to be like, I got the cedar wood, wasn't cedar wood.
You got to be ready. So just
plus those orders come in and you just got to be pumping them out.
Yeah, because I have a full-time job. So
right.
But I really like doing the pop-ups. It is very, you get to see people, you get to see your customers, you get to be out there. So I really enjoy doing the pop-ups, but eventually we will get a website. Yeah. That's the goal.
Yeah, that's dope. I like the pop-ups, honestly, like you said. It's just more, it feels like you're really putting in the legwork to launch your business as opposed to just, hey, I got a website. If you go over there, I got my candles on there. Like, no, you got to really get out there and push it. So I commend you for that. Normally, we do this segment called Rapid Fire, right?
Okay.
But you're from Long Beach. So I need to know some top restaurants out there, black-owned businesses. Shout out some things in Long Beach that you think people should support. Because you made the trip way down from Long Beach for those that don't know. Like, that's a nice little trip, and I appreciate it. So if anybody that's down in this area ever makes the trip up there, where can they go grab something to eat or do something cool at?
Oh, you put me on the spot.
Let's think about it. I give you some time. And in the meantime, we will tell y'all today's episode is sponsored by EmptyVessels candles, man. She just blessed us with some candles. They smell great. I've already had a couple myself. So I'm encouraging everybody to hurry on over to her Instagram and place your order so that your house is smelling nice and fresh, like summer brunch. Or Sunday brunch, excuse me. Like Sunday brunch. So again, shout out to EmptyVessels. We appreciate the love. Make sure you go support them. It's a black-owned business, but it's not. We don't want to support because it's black-owned. We want to support because the product is quality and made with love. Right?
Right.
So let me get a high five, Mercedes.
And
Sadie's Murder _.
A good place to eat is LBJ's. It's on Cherry in Long Beach. It is a good soul food spot. So if you like soul food, check them out. They're good.
Okay, cool. See, that's all we needed right there. That's a big shout out right there. Okay. Right now, we need you to make sure that you give us all your ads. Oh, matter of fact, before you do that, I didn't know that you was YK Bear's mom. So he's the son that you made all of these sacrifices for, and like it was all worth it. Like when I met him at the OC Natives event as well. He was doing music on the B Live, and that's all I'm doing music. That's what I thought he did. I didn't know he was I didn't know his mom was there. I didn't know anything, right? So when I'm doing my research and all that stuff, I realized like, oh, that's his mom. That's even better. But you know what? I got something for y'all. Not only are we gonna talk about it, my man's here. YK Bear, man, can you come step in the hot seat for us, brother? Okay, so if you get this book and you hear these stories and you understand her story, then this is a part of that story right here. Okay? All right, now this is a 17-year-old young man by the name of YK Bear. That's what we calling him, okay? Now, he is just signed to what?
Grambling State.
Yes, sir. And what you gonna be doing out there, my brother?
Be playing football.
Playing football. Now, when I met this brother, I thought he was just a rapper. And I thought he was good, too. I ain't gonna lie. But there's a lot of layers to this young brother, man. So I want to send a big salute to him and his mother for, working together and figuring this out, man. She made sacrifices for you, and you are making her proud by doing what you're doing. So big salute to you, man. And he going to HBCU. Like a lot of us need to do. Let's take back over the HBCUs, man. So y'all stay tuned, man. What number you gonna be when you go out there?
Hopefully 29.
29, that's what you're looking for?
Yeah.
Y'all look for number 29 out there at Grambling, man. He might have a braids or it might be a fro. You never know. Hey, just YK_Bear, right?
Yeah.
My man. My man. All right, so with that being, I had to bring him in. I think that's like, to me, I know how my mom feel about me, and like, we're like trophies. You're a trophy to your mom. You know what I'm saying? She's proud of you, and you know, like she worked hard for that. So, you know, just keep on working hard and keep on making her proud, my man. You know what I'm saying? Because you're definitely doing that. All right. With that being said, we got to make sure that all of our guests can stay in contact with both of you. So let's drop y'all ats. We need the candle line. We need to know where we can get these books. You know what I mean? We need to know exactly when the season start, who y'all playing first, and whatever else music you dropping and all of that. Like y'all let them know, man, because I want people to stay connected. This right here, like I didn't even realize that this was a story, but it's a beautiful one, and I want y'all to definitely support these two. So who's going first?
You can support my candle business at EmptyVessels on Instagram. My book can be found on my website, mercedesmouse.com, or Amazon.
Okay.
He said
YK_bear, right?
Instagram.
That's your Instagram? That's your Instagram?
Yeah.
How else can people get you? Got TikTok?
I do got TikTok.
Shout out to TikTok too. You know the TikTok.
I'll be
Make it up there.
My music, all platforms.
Okay. Under your name, YK Bear? Just type that in and it'll come up?
It's gonna come straight up. YouTube, I got a couple videos.
Okay.
Football season coming up.
Yeah.
That starts in August. You'll see me out there. We got Jackson State week 3.
Ooh. So you about to see Sanders there? That's Deion Sanders' team, huh?
Nah, he go see us.
Oh, he goes. Okay. Yeah, see, I gotta get all the way in. So I can get the grandma hoodie. I can get the crew neck though.
For sure.
Let you know. My man. All right, man. With that being said, hey, if you like this show, if you saw this episode and you enjoyed it in any fashion, please make sure to like, share, and comment. Not only that, but subscribe. It's the Hot Seat Podcast. Always delivering hot guests and hot topics. Until next time, love, peace, and happiness.